Hello, this is a tutorial on how to create a DIY surgical mask with a pocket and a nose guard wire. So here's an example of the finished product where it just expands at the front. This is using cord. I'm going to show you ribbon with this one. There's a wire in the nose, and at the very back there's a little area that you can add in your own filter. Some people are using vacuum bags, vacuum cleaner bags. Some people are using filters from the furnace that just help filter out extra stuff. You will need to get a 4-inch piece of wire. Now this one you can see I've already turned over the ends using the pliers. This is about a 4-inch piece. This actually I got at a dollar store. It's just a garden wire, and it works really well for this. Pipe cleaners also work well. You're also going to need 4 pieces of ribbon or cord of some sort for the ear ties, and these are 10 inches in length. I've already used a flame to seal off the ends so that they don't fray, and I did that for all 4 of them already. And you're going to need 3 pieces of fabric. So 2 I've got matching, which are going to be for the back, and I've got the front piece, which is the one that looks like a maze. So we're going to get started. You actually only need the back pieces right now, so line them up so that they are even and you have the good sides together for this. And you're going to go to your iron and you're going to iron halfway through. So I've already done this, but we're going to fold it in half so that it's all lined up, and then iron this so that you end up with a crease that you can sew along. Now with that, you're going to take a ruler. I'm just using my hem gauge and some fabric chalk. We're going to measure 3 inches in and make a little mark, and the same thing from the other end, 3 inches in and make a little mark. And this will just show us where to sew to. As you can see, we're not going to sew in this middle section here because that's where the pocket will be. Go to your machine, line it up, make sure you're locking your stitches, and sew both ends all the way up to that little mark that you made, and repeat that on the other end as well. Now that you've sewn both ends, what we're going to do is take the one layer of the top fabric from the top, and we're going to fold it down to the bottom. Take the whole project and flip it over, so you'll have 3 layers at the top here, 1 layer at the bottom here, and take 1 layer of fabric and turn it down as well. So what you've got here is your sewing is now on the inside here with the seam, and we've got this opening for our filter. Take that to your iron and press that so that we're ready for the next step. The next part we're going to do is take our ribbons and we're going to put them into our corners. You're going to want to be down about 3/4 of an inch from the top edge so that it doesn't get caught in your sewing, and then repeat that for all corners. I've already done the other corners just to make this quicker, and make sure you bunch up all of your ribbon in the middle. Then you're going to take your other piece of fabric. This is obviously the good side, and then that's the back side. With the good side facing down, you're going to line that all up, and you're going to now repin it with all layers. So the 3 layers plus the ribbon with your pins. I usually also throw a pin along the top and the bottom edge, making sure that all of the other ends of your ribbon are out of the way. Now you're ready to sew. So we're going to actually sew all the way around, pivoting in the corners, making sure you lock your stitches. Don't start right in a corner because it's very difficult to lock your stitches. Pick somewhere down away from a corner to start. Always make sure you're checking where your ribbon is. If you can see where that other piece of ribbon is there, I want to make sure that that's away from where I'm sewing, because otherwise I'm going to have to pull out the seam to fix it. So we're going to set it up. We're going to get started with sewing, locking our stitches. Don't sew over top of your pins. Just stop and pull them out. You don't want to end up breaking your needle. And then take it all the way down. If you haven't done pivots before, they're pretty easy. You can walk your way into the corner here. Don't go right to the edge of the fabric. Leave yourself some space. Put your needle down, lift your presser foot, turn, and now you haven't lost any space with your stitching. So we're going to continue that all the way around, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so we've sewn all the way around. We've locked our stitches. We have the pocket to turn it inside and out. But before we do that, we're going to clip our corners. And this just means to take a triangle section off the edge. Make sure that you're not getting too close to the stitching, because you don't want to end up having it fray and come apart. But you're going to do that for all four corners. It just takes away some of the bulk so that we can have some clean corners when we turn it inside out. And then you're going to reach inside and you're going to flip it inside out using that pocket in the back. You're going to have to poke your corners to bring them all the way out. What I usually use is I use the end of the scissors. You can get that in there and poke the corners so that they're nice and tight as we move on to the next step. Once you've done this, back to the iron, press everything so that it's nice and flat so that we can move on to the pleats. Ready to move on to our pleats. So I usually use this sew line at the back and then fold down and then pin it. I've already got the other end done, so this is just a question of doing this end. And then same thing, fold in and pin. You want to try to make sure both ends are even so that it looks nice and flat and straight. For those that haven't done pleats before, it's just the Z pattern basically to the fabric. And what you want to do is along the first part here to the corner is about 1.5 inches. Then this little section would be about 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches approximately. And then do that on both ends so that you have this idea. After that, we're going to edge stitch. So pick, again, away from a corner, pick a spot, and edge stitching is just stitching right along the edge here, just catching a little bit of the fabric all the way around so that it keeps it nice and clean. And it's also to secure our pleats, so make sure you're catching all the pleats as you go. With your pleats, make sure that you don't overlap too much. The two folds should come right to the middle there, you can see, so that they're not overlapping, otherwise it's going to get very thick. You may need to use your hand wheel to move through this section if it's really thick, and depending on how your machine works. Just be careful and go slow as you go through there. Some people choose to just do this end section and just edge stitch the end. You're welcome to do that if you want. I end up going all the way around. If you've edge stitched all the way around, you can see that there is a little bit of a seam all the way around and has caught that mask. If you don't want to put the nose wire in, you're done. If you do, then hang in and I'll show you that part as well. You're going to measure down about 2 inches. We're going to put a little mark here, and about 2 inches from this end as well. And it should leave you about 4 inches for creating a little pocket. And then we're going to sew down about 4 or 5 stitches, so it's about 1/4 inch, and then sew 4 inches down here. Leave this end open because we need to be able to put the wire in. So I've just made a couple of those little marks, one there, and our wire will fit in between there. You can see that there. So sew that, and we'll come back and put it together. So on the back here you can see we've got that two-sided pocket. We're going to use this filter pocket to get access to it. We're going to slide that wire up and slide it into place. Make sure you've already folded over your ends just so that it doesn't poke and hurt. And push that all the way into place. And now you can see that there's a wire in there. And then we're just going to do the last couple stitches there at the end to finish it off to hold it in place. The end of the tutorial. So you've got a DIY surgical mask with the nose wire, and you've got a space to put a filter in the back. Tie off your straps wherever you need it. I find that just doing something like this works really well. Just find the length that works for you and enjoy.